Avowed se dévoile un petit peu plus avec une vidéo d'à peu près 25 minutes qui a été diffusée dans le Xbox Podcast. Alors, on a d'autres informations par rapport à Avowed, notamment la date de sortie. Alors, installez-vous confortablement et on regarde tout ça ensemble. Alors, avant de débuter ce deep dive d'Avowed, on va parler de la date de sortie qui a été leakée par Obsidian. Donc, en fait, le studio derrière le jeu. Il semblerait que ce dernier sorte au mois de novembre et qu'il sorte le 12 novembre. Alors, ils ont publié l'information avant de l'enlever. Donc, peut-être que c'est sujet à changement, mais a priori, le jeu devrait sortir le 12 novembre. Maintenant, on va se lancer tout de suite dans la vidéo du deep dive. On va regarder ça ensemble.
Welcome back to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox. And all this week, we are diving deep into games you've seen at the Xbox Game Showcase. If you want to watch the other episodes, definitely check them out at youtube.com/.
Alors, tout d'abord, la première chose que je voudrais dire, c'est que j'apprécie tout particulièrement cette espèce de format podcast que Xbox nous offre par rapport à leur jeu. Ça donne vraiment beaucoup plus d'informations, etc. Et c'est vraiment extrêmement intéressant. Voilà, c'était juste la petite parenthèse. Continuons.
Xbox, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts. And I have a very special guest co-host, I should say, with me today. The fans love her, the viewers love her. It's Tina Meany. Tina,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing great. So excited for this kickoff of a really incredible week that you are hosting for us.
You know,
so thank you.
I'm cracking my knuckles. I'm getting ready. This is going to be a tough one, but I'm so excited.
A fun one.
Exactly. To your point, though, like this is going to be exciting. We just came off of the game showcase, and now we're going to learn a little bit more about games, but we have a special guest with us today.
We do, and even more special guest, and one of my personal faves. It's Carrie Patel, game director on Avowed. Welcome back, Carrie.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, man, you have been to the studio several times now.
Yeah,
It is such
exactly.
a treat that you spend so much time out here with us. We had you on Extended Showcase last year. We did an interview. This was after, one of the very first forays into Avowed, so that was very exciting. And then we actually had you on this podcast with a slightly different visual design.
Yeah, the cheese set is gone.
The cheese couch is gone.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Jeff is
table.
very happy about that. We got some podcast mics now, which I'm very excited
Very professional.
about.
Very
Yes.
Ils ont upgrade. Ils ont mis des vrais micros.
Some extended gameplay following Developer Direct, which was earlier this year.
Oui, donc il y avait le développeur direct,
Incredible
où
viewing.
on l'a vu du coup.
And it was so fun to get this deeper
Il y a eu
dive.
un petit focus sur Avowed aussi.
So,
right.
man, you are spoiling us in the audience.
That's
well,
right.
it's great to be here, and I'm definitely excited to show off what the team has been working on and excited to take a deeper dive into story today.
Ooh, well, let's talk
Oh, on va parler du coup de l'histoire.
Developer Direct. We had you on the podcast, and I just gotta make a call back. Like that was received so well. Like it was just great watching the comments and everyone like this makes me want to play the game. And so kudos to you.
Donc le jeu a été reçu de manière très positive par l'audience, donc ça leur fait extrêmement plaisir de voir les retours des joueurs. Ils disent qu'ils ont hâte de jouer au jeu.
Yeah, it's a really exciting part of the development process because you've got so much that's so far along, your content, your gameplay, your systems, and you're really just, investing those final touches, that final layer of polish, like pushing everything to be as good as it possibly can, trying to make smart decisions, not crazy ones. But yeah, it was great to see the
Beaucoup de devs qui décident de faire des décisions absolument
spent a lot of additional time.
folles plutôt que de faire des décisions intelligentes.
See some of in our footage today. So yeah, it's really just taking everything that's almost there and pushing it over the finish line and really getting to turn this into the game that we all on the team want to play as well.
Yeah, and I just want to build off of that a little bit because we were talking about you before you all came. We were talking behind your back, but in a good
Only
way.
good things.
But I feel like to your point, Obsidian has this je ne sais quoi. This is to use my little
Ah
French
oui.
that I know very little.
It was that one statement. That was it.
Yeah, that's really all I know.
Qui dit que Obsidian a cette espèce de je ne sais quoi. Ils ont une patte graphique, enfin pas que graphique, ils ont juste une patte
Pentiment, all these great
très particulière qui fait beaucoup de bien. Je vous invite encore une fois à jouer à Pentiment.
last year.
C'est un excellent jeu.
It was very evident why your games always come together and are just so great. It's just because you have that cohesive unit. So it's great that time that you've spent since then has been used just like polishing the game, like you said, and making it awesome. So I'm excited to play a little bit later.
Oh yeah, me too. But before we jump into the deeper dive gameplay, do you want to just set up for us both what Avowed is, just in case anyone out there doesn't know, but also what we just saw at the Xbox Game Showcase with the new trailer?
Sure. So Avowed is an upcoming fantasy action RPG RPG. For players who are familiar with the Pillars of Eternity games, this takes place in the same universe, but it is not a sequel. The style of gameplay is obviously very different.
C'est dans le même univers que Pillar of Eternity.
We'll get to that. But yeah, it's basically just bringing our players to the world of Aora with a really immersive, action-forward, really fun, fresh take on the Pillars world. And from the trailer we just saw now, we've met a few of our key characters. So part of what we wanted to do with this trailer is really set up for the player the world you're stepping into and the role you're stepping into, and also the choice that's in front of you for how you want to inhabit and live out that role in the game. So the very first voice that we hear from at the beginning of the trailer is the Emperor of Adir, your boss, essentially. He's sending you to the Living Lands to get to the bottom of this soul plague called the Dream Scourge, find out what's causing it, and find a way to stop it. The next
Donc,
person
on entend le roi qui nous envoie donc dans la terre, machin truc, pour enquêter tout ça,
might remember her
trouver une
as a
solution.
side character in one of our very interesting side quests, but in Avowed, she's pretty central. And her whole belief is that the Dream Scourge is really just symptomatic of larger problems, a larger sense of chaos and disunity and destructiveness at the heart of the Living Lands. And in the world of Pillars of Eternity, souls and essence, which is the stuff of souls, it manifests physically. And so she might be onto something. And then the very last person we hear from is Giada, who's one of the companions that we'll meet in our journey. And she's taking a different perspective. She's saying this chaos is part of who we are. It's part of what makes the Living Lands special. Don't try to tame it. Don't try to end it. Embrace it and cherish it and kind of nurture and tend to it. So again, what that really sets up for the player is this is a big world. It's got adventure and danger, and it's also got a lot of choices to make. And it's going to be up to you to decide, what it means to be the envoy of Adir in the Living Lands and what it means to set things right in this place.
Yeah, so to your point, that kind of
Donc manifestement, on va avoir des choix à faire, puisqu'en fait, le troisième personnage, par exemple, qu'on entend, est donc un compagnon qui, lui, veut plutôt embrasser un petit peu cette espèce de chaos, etc. Donc on va très probablement avoir des choix à faire.
Kind of act on that. And so, but let's get into the gameplay, because just like a little bit after Developer Direct, you've brought some new gameplay for us to watch. And so let's check some of this out. Tell us a bit about what we're seeing here.
So we're going to start out in Emerald Stair, which is one of the regions you'll get to explore over the course of the game. We're not too far along, but we have here a lovely nighttime scene. I think this region in particular looks fantastic at night.
Very stunning.
Yeah, thank you. And here we have
très coloré.
Swirlings attacking Yatsley, who is going to be one of our other companions.
And you were charging up like your bow and arrow.
Donc on voit un autre compagnon qui s'appelle Yatsi.
Slice your way through what looks like some very thick top-heavy swirling armor here.
And you're right, we are struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they're giving you a run for your money here.
Yeah. We'll fix that. So part of the problem is we've just transitioned out of an earlier region, and so we haven't upgraded our gear yet. So if we look like we're struggling against these little mushroom guys, it's because we haven't upgraded our weapons so that they're really up to par with the enemy.
Et donc on vient d'arriver dans la région, on n'a pas encore amélioré notre équipement, donc on a quelques petits soucis à tuer les espèces de champignons. Yatsley.
So
Pas
this is
Yatsi.
still fairly early
Yatsley.
into the game too, the setting of Emerald Stair.
Yeah.
Nice. And then we have Yatsley.
Yeah, she's a wizard. She's very fun. She's
Et c'est une sorcière.
she's a little risque in a way that I think
Mage,
makes
plutôt.
her a lot of fun to talk to. She's got some very good banters with the other companions. But yeah, she's just a little lightning ball of a lot of personality. And
You
so,
see the options here, by the way, also.
Une petite boule d'énergie avec beaucoup de personnalité.
Options. Tell us a little bit about how that's playing here.
So you noticed with a couple of those that we had a little symbol at the front of those options. So as this is an Obsidian game, some of the options available to you are dictated by choices you make at character creation, choices you make as you level up your character. So some of them are tied to specific attributes. Some of them are tied to specific backgrounds that you choose at the beginning of the game. And a lot of those will really...
Ok, donc les icônes qu'on peut voir, ce sont des dialogues spécifiques qui apparaissent suivant le background qu'on choisit à notre personnage lors de la création de ce dernier, ou bien d'attributs qu'on va choisir au fur et à mesure qu'on fait évoluer notre personnage.
It is like she's flirting with us.
She
So
is.
what would happen if we pass the conversation check for the flirtation option, which I assume is this first one?
Yeah. Well, you'll have to see in a bit, but yeah, if you flirt with Yatsley, she will flirt back.
She
as we're
seems
about
like
to
a
see.
flirtatious type.
Ok, donc là, en l'occurrence, ils étaient en train de flirter.
She's going to climb you.
Careful, darling.
I already have a lover, a good one, skilled with his hands. He always carries a ladder.
She rebuked me.
Oh, did oh,
Wow.
well, you know what? Maybe keep trying. But
Dialogue
no.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like visually speaking, like I think this is the first time you all are also showing like
Par contre, il n'y a pas de lip sync, hein, j'ai l'impression.
Yeah, so we do have a dynamic time of day, and
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
our
I didn't think I knew
environments.
that. Yeah.
Et
No.
donc, il y a un cycle jour-nuit dynamique.
Day. We've definitely shown a lot of daytime footage. We've shown some golden hour footage. But again, Emerald Stair looks really stunning at night.
Yeah.
It's very colorful, very lush. We've got all the fungi. And then one thing we're going to see as we come over the hill here is all of this equipment that the animancers of the town of Fior have made. And so animancy in the world of Pillars of Eternity is basically soul science. It's about studying and manipulating the essence that makes up souls and the essence that is ambient in the ether.
Quite controversial in the world.
Yes, it is, which is something we get into in this region. But yeah, so this is a little enclave of animancers who are kind of free to study, outside of the watchful eye of any larger authority here in the.
Donc c'est vraiment une espèce d'enclave ici, cette région-là, où les gens sont libres de poursuivre des recherches un petit peu
Yeah.
en dehors des lois, on va dire, et
By the screen.
de l'autorité établie qu'il y a dans ce monde-là.
Yes, they've discovered something wrong in the ether, and you're coming here to sort of see what the animancers have figured out.
All right. And now I'm looking at this. It looks like we're heading into the party camp. Can you tell us a little bit?
Et ça, c'est le camp de nos personnages.
Yeah, so Party Camp is one of my favorite spaces in the game. It's both your narrative hub and also your upgrade hub.
Ok, donc c'est l'endroit où on va pouvoir,
We do have third person.
un petit peu comme dans Mass Effect ou dans
First person.
Baldur's Gate, le camp, c'est l'endroit où on va pouvoir
But yeah, in Party Camp, that's
travailler les relations entre les personnages, etc.
kind of get to know their
On peut
backstory.
connaître un peu plus leur backstory, donc leur histoire, etc.
You can also hear
Et on peut aussi faire évoluer notre personnage et l'upgrade.
which is always super fun to eavesdrop on. And it's also where we can upgrade our gear. So we've got our party staff.
Voilà, c'est là qu'on peut faire
We've got
évoluer notre équipement et l'améliorer.
taking some of our older gear that we picked up
Donc on peut voir que ça va nécessiter des ressources.
so that we're better equipped to fight the enemies here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sporlings.
Yeah,
Watch out.
coming back.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna be way better. But I want to touch back on what you said around the banter around with your companions. I've always found that like in those kind of camp areas and in games just in general, like that's where I love.
Yeah.
And I love that you all are including banter between the other
Companions as
companions
well, yeah.
because that makes it feel more alive. Like you're just listening to the banter, but. Is there conflict between some of the companions?
Ah, est-ce qu'il va y avoir des conflits entre compagnons?
Dream Scourge and like what you should do with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So what can we expect to hear?
Un petit peu comme on peut voir dans Baldur's Gate, par exemple.
So you'll hear a lot of different things. One thing we really wanted to create with Party Camp was this sense that, you're adventuring and exploring together through this big wilderness, all of these different landscapes. And Party Camp is this quiet space where you can all kind of huddle together, share a moment of respite. And, the pace and the tone of everything is a lot slower and quieter. So some of the banter is going to be kind of quirky and fun as these characters get to know each other and kind of dig into their different personalities, their different eccentricities. Some of it's going to be a little more somber as they, kind of reflect on different events that y'all have seen, different things y'all have gone through together. And then, yes, as you get to harder decisions in the game, there are going to be moments of conflict where they disagree on what the right course forward is.
Effectivement, il va y avoir des moments de conflit où les gens vont pas forcément être d'accord avec les choix que le joueur va faire.
That's where these characters get to
Et le camp est vraiment là pour essayer de temporiser un petit peu tout ce qui se passe. Donc,
Controversial
on va avoir une aventure où il va se passer pas mal de choses, etc. Et le camp est là, du coup, pour pouvoir
Connected, I get to certain
se
companions.
reposer, se réunir dans le calme avec les autres personnages.
Judgment. Yeah, so I'll sometimes, start to actually take that into account. I love the party camp moments, sitting by a campfire, and certainly
Ça permet vraiment de temporiser et puis
my understanding is we're picking up
d'avoir un moment de calme, en fait.
upgrading some of our weapons, but also picking up some new skills which you can do in this party camp kind of downtime too.
Yeah, so you can upgrade your skills and abilities.
Je vous avouerai qu'à la base, j'étais absolument pas... Enfin, c'est Obsidian, et Obsidian, c'est un de mes studios de cœur.
Now, so
J'étais pas forcément très convaincue par le jeu, mais plus j'en vois, plus je me dis, en fait, ça pourrait être quelque chose d'assez incroyable. Donc, plus j'en apprends, plus j'ai envie d'y jouer, ce qui est bon signe.
Mix and match freely between them. So if you want to be all wizard, you can, build entirely throughout that skill tree. If you want to mix and match, make a battle mage or make, someone who can be a little
Et
stubborn.
donc, l'arbre de compétences va pouvoir permettre de faire absolument ce qu'on veut et de changer le gameplay en fonction de ce qu'on souhaite jouer. Si on veut jouer un mage ou si on veut jouer un mage attaquant ou si on veut jouer un tank, etc., etc., on peut complètement modeler le personnage comme on le souhaite.
With a little bit more skills at our hands.
Yeah, we wanted to try to, as much as possible, give the different abilities that players can pick up. Obviously solutions in combat, but also solutions in exploration. And so, there's almost always more than one way through a particular barrier, but you'll have, weapons, your own abilities, spells, weapon enchantments, sometimes even your companions who.
Donc en fait, ils voulaient faire en sorte que les capacités qu'on va choisir, on puisse non seulement les utiliser en combat, mais également dans le monde ouvert pour résoudre une problématique par rapport à la topologie, etc. Donc en l'occurrence, là, on a pu voir qu'on avait un sort de feu, on a pu passer outre, on a fait flamber des espèces de racines, etc. pour pouvoir passer. Mais elle a dit que du coup, on a également d'autres moyens de pouvoir passer. On a nos armes, j'imagine qu'on va pouvoir enchanter ne serait-ce que des flèches ou même son épée en flamme pour pouvoir passer, etc. Il y a différents moyens de passer, de contourner les difficultés dans l'environnement qui nous entoure.
And this guy's a little different looking.
Yeah.
What's his
Little
deal?
spikes.
So this is a caster. So, all of our enemy families will have different unit types among them. And we've seen a lot of these little melee spoilings who just run at us. And it's very cute, actually. It's one of our favorite little animations on the team. But you also have these caster units that can obviously attack you from a distance, do quite a bit more damage. And we have a few other unit types who we haven't met yet, but we're going to try to take this guy out because he's a little more dangerous than the small guys.
Yeah, taking a few more hits than them.
So when you build up enough stun on an enemy, you can kind of queue up an attack.
Je trouve le jeu plus joli que ce qu'on avait pu voir jusqu'à présent.
It doesn't take them out
Parce que
outright.
jusqu'à présent, il n'avait pas l'air plus impressionnant que ça comme jeu.
If you can.
Là, il a l'air vraiment beaucoup plus joli que ce qu'on a vu jusqu'à présent. Je sais pas trop ce que vous en pensez. Dites-moi ça dans les commentaires.
That we love that allows
J'ai l'impression qu'il y a eu un espèce d'upgrade.
things.
C'est peut-être l'environnement qui fait ça, c'est peut-être la carte qui fait ça. La dernière fois, c'était un peu plus désertique.
Build content around because, like you said, you can really reward your curious players by hiding a lot of secrets, a lot of fun, a lot of storytelling, and nooks and crannies throughout the levels.
And we did just pick up that godless vase, so
Yes.
we've got our item that Yatzli's been asking us for.
Yes.
So can you remind us too?
Donc là, on a été chercher un objet qu'on nous demandait,
What we're kind of exchanging.
qui est classique là pour le coup.
Yatzli is a scholar of the godless, and the godless are the ancient people who used to inhabit the living lands. They have been gone for many, 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 many years, but we see their ruins throughout the different regions of the living lands. So Yatzli studies them. They are called the godless because they are not recognized as worshipping in their art any of the gods of Eora that people know of.
Et donc la race de ce personnage-là avait habité ces terres-là pendant des siècles. C'était une civilisation qui était établie dans ce monde-là, puis ils sont partis et elle revient en fait ici pour étudier, pour ainsi dire, la terre de ses ancêtres.
Yatzli in that way.
Yes.
So what does that mean in the world of like the universe in general and why we look the way that we look here?
Sure. So, in the world of Pillars of Eternity, a godlike is a member of any kith species whose soul has been touched in some way by one of the gods. You can play as a godlike in Pillars 1 or Deadfire. In Avowed, you are definitely a godlike. And being a godlike will manifest in a number of different ways, but one of them is you usually have a unique physical appearance that manifests in some way on your face and or head. Now, with Avowed, you can choose exactly what that manifestation looks like. This lichen-like growth is one of your options, but you will.
Donc là, en l'occurrence, c'est une forme spécifique du personnage qu'on peut choisir. Ce serait un personnage qui a été
Either way, you
touché
have a
par un
connection
dieu
with the gods. And most godlikes
ça se manifeste par
known, which
par
god
quelque chose de
share a
physique.
lineage with. For you, it is a mystery, and that's one of the things you'll get to explore in your journey through Avowed.
Yeah, and I love the customization because I think just generally speaking, people love to customize the character they want. So maybe again, like you go a little bit more obvious here, or maybe you go a little subtle. Are we going to see like players or not players, but like other people in the world like reacting to sort of your godlike appearance?
You will, because it is very unique, and there aren't many godlikes left in the world of Aora. So you are doubly unique in this case.
Donc c'est le cas de notre personnage en l'occurrence.
I'm a godlike.
Et on va devoir étudier ça aussi. Et les personnages environnants, les PNJ, vont réagir en fait à ces marques qu'on a qui sont caractéristiques. Puisque ce qu'on appelle les godlike, il n'y en a pas beaucoup dans le monde.
And that's the thing, is that godlikes are quite rare, so they
Yes.
are kind of intrigued by it when they see you and they recognize that you are different.
Donc les gens vont être intrigués parce que
Sending us somewhere
vous
else.
ne ressemblez pas aux autres personnes.
We've gotten her vase.
Donc forcément les gens vont être intrigués.
She will join our party at some point, but not
okay.
right away.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a quest that takes place along the Crit Path and Emerald Stair. So you can tell we're still in the same overall region. So we're working with one of the animancers in the town of Fior, and he's going to help us He's going to try to help us diagnose what's going on with the living lands. But in order to do that, he needs the heart of an Adragon, and an Adragon is essentially a nymph with sort of the skin and appearance of Adra, and he needs the heart for the essence that it contains.
Donc ici c'est une quête où on va aider un personnage qui est dans une ville à pouvoir faire des recherches justement sur l'espèce de maladie qu'il y a. Et donc du coup il faut qu'on aille chercher un cœur d'une bestiole particulière parce qu'il en a besoin pour l'étudier. Ici aussi c'est une quête très classique, somme toute. On a déjà vu ça 100 fois dans les jeux vidéo. Ça c'est pas forcément bon signe.
Just marching through their territory, and we might have an easier time of it if we can avoid conflict, but conflict's also fun, so in this case we're just swinging our sword and going on in.
And you're right about them being a little bit harder to take down. We are definitely having to utilize everything in our arsenal here to take them down.
Yes. And
Je trouve que
types here. We've also got casters,
ouais.
some very long kind of whippy arms that they can.
Je trouve qu'on n'a pas assez de sensations. Avoir manette en main, mais je trouve que là, de ce qu'on voit, on n'a pas assez de sensations par rapport au coup qu'on porte.
Yeah.
Et que c'est genre une... C'est comme si on tapait dans un tronc d'arbre, si vous voulez. On tape, puis il n'y a rien qui se passe. Puis une fois qu'on a fini de couper le tronc d'arbre, il tombe comme un tronc. Et puis c'est raide. Et puis là, c'est un peu ce qu'on a vu. Ça refroidit un peu, par exemple.
Yep, she can sense what we've done and she's not happy about it.
So many of my kin are dead by your hand. The time for words has passed.
It's a good thing we like fighting because we're going to fight some more now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Il n'y a pas de lip sync, ça...
Forces have arrived, and now we're in trouble. But we're going to leave that a little mystery, right? I'm assuming. I don't want to give everything away. So what are we looking at here? This is us kind of respecing kind of how our character plays, right?
Yes. So if you find that you want to try out a new suite of abilities, if you want to approach a particular piece of content like this one in a different way, you can respec. And you might have seen popping up.
Donc forcément, on va pouvoir respect notre personnage si jamais on veut faire autre chose.
Try out a whole new set of abilities. So
vous avez vu qu'il y a pas mal... On voit les classes en haut.
A lot of ranger related abilities, and I think a couple wizard ones as well. So the most important.
Donc on a fighter, ranger, wizard, godlike et compagnon.
Ability. And what that
Les différents arbres.
Ability to essentially kind of open up a rift in the here, which is the physical world, and travel through the beyond, which is kind of the invisible spiritual world, in order to move through the environment. So what this means is that as long as we don't engage them, these characters can't see us. And as long as we keep our essence meter up, this ability will remain active.
Ok, donc
This one is
là on peut aller dans une espèce de dimension,
our special abilities on our
un autre plan, on va dire.
You can see we're passing some cover cover grass as well.
Et on peut voyager comme ça. Tant qu'on n'attaque pas les ennemis ne nous attaqueront pas.
We could duck into that grass, kind of watch the patrols and avoid using.
C'est un peu comme dans le Seigneur des Anneaux, on met l'anneau et puis on peut se balader, puis c'est un peu ça. Voilà.
Right here.
So if you're an expert stealther, you could possibly do this section in stealth without that.
Ah, ce qui fait que
Just
Yeah.
to cover up the
ce qui fait que du coup, on peut complètement passer
On our
les environnements
and
Health
build up
and
that
assets.
discrètement,
Exactly.
sans se faire voir.
And we've also
Et sans
got a
attaquer.
side route here. So again, we like to offer different ways for players to approach our content, especially big potential fights like the one kind of in the glade here. So this is a little side path that you can see still has some enemies.
Donc, il voulait vraiment faire en sorte que les joueurs puissent aborder
Willing to use that cover
l'environnement de
grass,
différentes façons, encore une fois.
willing and able to use shadowing beyond, they can get through without causing a ruckus.
So if you fight this sporling, will the others be alerted to it, or could you get away with like one kill and then?
It depends how close they are. So they do have a shout radius, but it is not infinite. So if there isn't anyone close by, and if you're pretty fast, you might be able to get away.
Yeah,
but
like
you can
that.
see there's
Oh,
one
yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. So
You never know who's hiding in a little nook.
Right.
Ok, on peut faire des éliminations silencieuses. Par contre, faut faire gaffe.
But I'm excited.
Ils ont la capacité d'alerter donc les autres. Donc si on est, s'il est vraiment près d'un autre ennemi,
You know, you
enfin, d'un de ses collègues, hein, il va hurler et du coup ça va permettre aux autres de répliquer.
possibly open up
Donc,
some other dialogue options.
Il faut vraiment faire attention à la façon dont on va aborder la chose.
Welcome, visitor.
Si on est rapide et qu'on le tue rapidement, il n'aura pas le temps d'alerter les
One
autres.
of your kind has walked in this grove.
You know, in this case, the Dalamgan Queen has recognized that we haven't killed all of her followers. And so there's a little more of an opportunity to talk with her. She recognizes that we are godlike. She might even recognize what kind of godlike we are.
Donc là, en fait,
In this case, she will give us the heart.
c'est là où on voit qu'il y a... Ça peut ouvrir différentes voies, pour ainsi dire. Là, on a fait... on est passé discrètement, on n'a pas tué beaucoup de monde.
Of course, the thing is, you know,
Donc, quand on arrive à elle, c'est la reine,
they're not really
quand on arrive à elle, elle note qu'on n'a pas tué beaucoup de ses sujets, et donc du coup, on a des lignes de dialogue qui se débloquent.
But then she gave you the heart and she said, take it and go in peace.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there you go.
We came in peace and we left in peace.
Boom.
Look at that.
Peace rules. Sometimes.
Well, I think that's all the gameplay that you and the team brought out here today. Thank you again so much. It's been so insightful and such a fun opportunity to walk through it all step by step with
Donc, je crois qu'on arrive à la fin du coup de cette présentation.
But like the trailers that you all make are always so great. But then getting to like talk to you and see what the team has built and deliver especially for the Xbox podcast is always great to see and dive deeper into those details, dialogue options, how you tackle a game.
Oui, donc encore une fois, c'est plutôt intéressant de pouvoir
Playing the game.
Yeah.
deep dive, donc plonger dans l'univers avec les développeurs qui du coup nous expliquent pourquoi ils ont fait ça, pour quelles raisons, etc. etc. Ça, c'est extrêmement intéressant. Et ce serait bien qu'il y ait plus de ce genre de choses, encore plus.
To just really put the rest of the experience together, get it all polished, get it across the finish line, and we're all really stoked to see
Donc ils sont réellement en train de finir de polir le jeu
what kind of role they choose for their own.
de façon à ce qu'ils sortent dans le meilleur état possible. Alors encore une fois, ça a été leaké par Obsidian eux-mêmes. Le jeu a priori devrait sortir le 12 novembre prochain.
Excited to see the game a little bit later on. And with that, that wraps up
Donc
today's
comme
Avowed.
c'est la fin, on va se retrouver dans quelques secondes pour la conclusion
To check out later.
de ce podcast.
Looking forward to
Bon, et bien ceci était du coup ce petit aperçu supplémentaire de Avowed. Comme je vous l'ai dit, moi à la base c'était pas forcément un jeu qui m'intéressait, même si c'est Obsidian. Mais plus j'en apprends, plus j'ai envie d'y jouer personnellement. Donc vous me direz dans les commentaires ce que vous en avez pensé. Alors après, je vous ai donné mon ressenti. Parfois, j'ai l'impression qu'il y a eu un petit upgrade graphique par rapport à ce qu'on a pu voir, mais c'est peut-être parce que la dernière région était un peu plus désertique que celle-ci. Mais par contre, il y a certaines petites choses qui me gênent quand même. C'est-à-dire, par exemple, le lip sync avec les personnages. C'est surtout quand on a des voix que ça peut gêner, en fait. Avoir un personnage qui fait ça, mais quand il n'y a pas de voix, ça passe. Quand il y a une voix, ça peut déranger un petit peu parce que il y a un espèce de décalage, ça produit un espèce de décalage. Il y a également le fait que j'ai pas l'impression, mais ça c'est à voir manette en main, mais j'ai pas l'impression qu'on a vraiment des sensations par rapport au coup qu'on porte sur les ennemis. Comme je vous disais, j'ai l'impression qu'on tape dans un tronc d'arbre, voilà, on a l'ennemi, il a une hitbox carrée, enfin rectangulaire, toc, et puis on tape, ça enlève juste des dégâts, ça a juste une valeur, un chiffre en fait, et quand ça arrive à 0, pouf, le truc il tombe comme ça m'a donné cette impression-là, ce que je trouve désagréable. Voilà, mais à voir manette en main encore une fois. C'était peut-être spécifique à ces ennemis-là, à voir. Mais même les champignons, j'ai l'impression que c'était un peu ça. Donc, attention, on va voir ça. Même, on a pu voir également, quand ils lancent du feu, etc., les ennemis réagissent pas forcément, ils continuent à attaquer, ils réagissent pas au fait qu'ils sont en train de brûler, en fait. C'est ce genre de détail qu'on recherche, ou personnellement que je recherche aujourd'hui, et taper comme ça dans le vide, enfin, je trouve ça bizarre. Voilà. Encore une fois, avoir manette en main. Ceci conclut cette vidéo, j'espère que vous l'avez appréciée. Si c'est le cas, n'hésitez pas à mettre un pouce vers le haut, abonnez-vous à la chaîne si ce n'est pas déjà le cas et activez la cloche pour savoir quand je publie une nouvelle vidéo. En attendant cette nouvelle vidéo, je vous souhaite une excellente journée, soirée, un excellent tout. Et je vous dis à la prochaine. Allez, ciao.